this is Daryl Christopher coming at you from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. This is Comic Book Haul Review. This is episode 7, part 10 of Comic Book Haul Review, where we're going to be looking at The Dark Tower, the drawing of the 3, issues number 1 to 5, the complete limited series. I got some good news. I finally got that full-time permanent position and I got myself a new job. Things are turning out really well. I have an acting gig tomorrow and it's like when it rains it pours, and it's going to be great from here on out. I'm finally not having to tap my resources and going to debt to make it through and, you know, barely make the most minimum of bill payments. It's been a rough time these last 2 months of work route. What made it worse is that I didn't do anything wrong in my jobs. It's just that I couldn't find anything and the contracts ran out. But finally, things have worked out. It's a good job, and I think I'm going to do well with it. And it's great to have something that's permanent, where you don't have to worry about a contract ending and not having any money for a while until another contract comes along. It's steady pay, and that's all that counts. So that's all I need, and lots of hours. So that's what I need to pay my bills, because I want to get rid of all my debt load as soon as I can. So now that I've learned to live really cheap, I'm going to keep living cheap, and I'm just going to work my ass off to eliminate all my debt. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of all that money going to waste. It's time that I pay everything off. I mean, I have to admit, I was a student, I was in poverty, and I was buying myself a lot of stuff when I was in school, and it's expensive to be in school, but the time has come to deal with that situation. I did well for quite a while, and then I didn't have work for a while, and then I got right back to where I started. This time I'm going to have 6 days a week where I'm going to be working, so I'm going to pay off as much as I can, as often as I can. And but at the same time, I also made a few acquisitions. Today I renewed my website, which was a good thing because I checked my email and I forgot that I'd been on this mailing list for so long, and I got an email about an acting gig, and I replied to it. Half an hour later I got a call on the phone saying they want me for tomorrow, so that's great. And then the other thing I bought was new video software that supports 4K video, and it's called Filmora from Wondershare. They had a plan where you could get a subscription for $24 for the year, or you could pay $69 and have a lifetime of upgrades. I chose that. It's a little trickier than Movie Maker in terms of Movie Maker being very simplistic, but it's got a lot more options, so I'm looking forward to learning a little more as I go with it every time and making new videos on it. So this here, as you will know now, is the last video for Comic Book Haul Review episode 7. This is part 10, and then the next video that you will see will be part 1 of episode 8. So that's how I'll do it from now on. I'll make 10 parts per episode, and that's how I'm going to bring them out to you. Anyways, everyone, thank you for watching. I'll get right down to it right away. Let's start off with issue number 1 of The Dark Tower, drawing of the 3. Here's the cover here, and I'll take it out and let you take a look at it. Remember here that I give away spoilers, so if you don't want to know what happens, then don't watch the video from this point on. If it doesn't matter to you what happens and you want to know, then I am happy that you're along for the ride, so enjoy the video. So right here we have an encounter between Eddie and Roland the Gunslinger. He's in his realm. Eddie, as you know, escaped from the plane washroom into Roland's realm because he's a mule for carrying drugs for his evil master, Balazar. And obviously the flight crew is going nuts trying to get into that laboratory to know what's going on. They obviously suspect it's drugs, and they want to do something about it. They want to catch him in flagrant delicto, I guess you could say. So here we have him here. He comes back to the Earth that he knows, and innocently just sitting on the toilet. Drugs? Me? What are you talking about, good sir? He looks so innocent there. The art is simple, yet it's very emotive, and it's you know it's pleasant. It's not like any of the art is disagreeable. It's simple, yet you know it's got its little complex nuances here and there for conveying emotions. So that's a good thing. I give this series an 8.5 out of 10. It's always at the top of my reading pile when it comes in for the subs. And here we have Eddie's brother Henry, who's really at the end of the line when it comes to his consumption of heroin. That drug is terrible. I don't know how people can do fentanyl and heroin and opiates and inject things. That's crazy. This is just death. I mean, you're killing yourself. Is it really worth it for chasing the dragon? Holy, you know, it's just a mess. It's sad. I see how it was in the 70s, and then basically it was so bad that it wiped out the problem for decades, and now we have a problem again because people got addicted to OxyContin, and then when they couldn't get pills anymore, they switched to heroin because it's cheaper, and there's a huge heroin epidemic now, and it's a sad reality. It's sad there's so much addiction in society. So they have Balazar's men taking him, and he just does not look well at all. He looks like he's honestly on death's door. So that concludes issue 1. Here we have issue number 2. And let's get down to it for you. Obviously, at the airport, we have Eddie being thoroughly interrogated. They know that it's all about the drugs. This guy looks like he's into drugs, so they're all over him. Look at how many guys are there in the room trying to get out information from him. That's serious stuff. And then part of his mind is back with the in the other world where we have the Lobstrosities going at it. Henry is just barely hanging on. He can't. He's hardly even coherent. He's hardly even there. His mind, his body is just leaving him. It's so sad. Eddie gets food for Roland to eat, help him survive. It's good. Here we have one of the enforcers here, and basically he's laying down the law that he forcibly has to go see Balazar. They somehow put it together that he didn't come in with the drugs, or he ripped them off in some way, so something serious is going to happen. That concludes issue number 2. Here we have issue number 3. And this just disgusts me. It's basically they have him there, and look, already feeding him another needle of that death, the heroin. And that's ridiculous when people don't care about other people. It's just money to them or what they can do. That's disgusting. Human beings shouldn't be like that. And you know, like there's a lot of honorable drug dealers out there who would never sell someone something or even have it available because it's destructive, you know, like in my religion anyways, like I only get my drugs from my doctor, I'll be quite honest with you, but in my belief system, God endorses and encourages you to exceed human limits and whenever possible take performance enhancing drugs, because that's the only way that you'll truly know how far you can go beyond human limits and do better than what your basic design enabled you to do. So as long as something's life positive, it's perfectly endorsed and encouraged by my belief system. But as soon as it becomes life destroying and destructive and life going downhill, nowhere you can't work, you're not getting anything out of it, that's not the drugs to take. Those drugs are the evil ones. Avoid them at all costs. Those are the drugs that God does not want you on. So anyways, here we have him getting another needle for Henry of heroin. Terrible. The House of Cards, the Balazar built, is certainly a lot bigger than it was before. So basically they have them out now, like where are the drugs, what's going on. We have that going on. finally, after all the abuse and needles, Henry's overdosed and he's dead. That was not a surprise. Oh, here we go. We have Balazar's enforcer. Eddie's taking him to the other side. And this is where Roland and Eddie go to town on that gangster figure, I guess you could say. And in the end, as you can see, he's eaten by the lobstrosities. And then at the end of the issue, we have Roland and Eddie going into a doorway into Eddie's world and Eddie's Earth. So very cool stuff here. As you know, my review for any of the Dark Tower series, I give it all 8.5 out of 10. It's phenomenal stuff. I read all the books when they came out, and I've been really enjoying the comics and reliving it from like a different angle. Some things are the same, a few different nuances, but really they really respect the material from Stephen King, and you know, right up there with probably the book that I connected with most from Stephen King was Dr. Sleep, simply because of what happens in the story and the story about recovery and stuff like that. And basically, like, the other ones that I really love from Stephen King are The Stand, of course. That was also a great graphic novel series from Marvel. I collected every one. And The Dark Tower is probably one of my favorite. I love the mix of Western, sci-fi, horror, fantasy, time travel. It's got everything. It's so many different genres mixed up together. That's what makes it work, you know, like the only Stephen King could pull this off. So it's been an amazing adventure. I'm going to be sad when it's gone, but it's going to last a long time. It was a long series. And be glad that you weren't there for when, in the middle of the series, there was almost, I think, a decade-long break where we had to wait for the next novel. So this time, these are coming out in rapid succession, so that's a good thing. So let's get to issue number 4. Here we go here. And there we go. Things are not going well for Balazar. His house of cards is falling down. And this is where Roland and Eddie just go to town on Balazar's men. Getting a little revenge for them living off their life force, basically. Ruining them with drugs that destroy lives. And then by the end, of course they're wiped out. These guys are badass, but unfortunately, no body, but Henry's head is there. They cut it right off his body. That's what savages these guys are. They're evil to the core. And obviously Eddie's got a lot of grief. That was his brother. And you know from the previous issues and previous books in the Dark Tower series, he worshipped his brother even though he was smarter and better than him. And he did everything he asked. He got into drugs basically because of his brother. So all that he has left now is his head. He's dead. His life is gone. There's nothing he can do about it. And then Roland reveals to Eddie his quest for the Dark Tower. There you go there. And then at the end of the issue, they take a doorway back into the realm of Roland. And they continue their adventure there. This is issue 4, so as you can see at the end here, it's to be concluded. And finally, let's wrap things up with issue number 5. This is one that deals with some very serious stuff. This is awful. That's the worst part of the heroin, I think, is that Eddie goes through withdrawal from the heroin, and he's just physically sick. He's not doing well at all. That's just disgusting what that drug can do to people. And the only thing I find worse than that is cigarettes, because you can quit crack or heroin, but try to quit smoking. It's a really tough thing to do, so that's even worse in some ways. So Eddie's going through withdrawal. It's not doing well, but at the same time, he's getting a little bit of his strength back. He's doing better. And in this issue, we find a lot of back and forth between. We have a little bit of here. We have a little bit of Roland's history and past being revealed. And then we basically have it where Eddie and Roland are helping one another survive. Eddie gets the bright idea that they can use the Lobstrosities for food. And by the end, they've survived that withdrawal. Roland's feeling better, Eddie's feeling better, and they move on now to the next leg of the journey. And the next limited series in the Dark Tower comic books and graphic novels will be issue 1 of The Lady of Shadows, which I recently just gotten and read, and that'll be in a later review, so stay tuned for that. So that was issues number 1 to 5 of the Dark Tower drawing of the 3 House of Cards. So now you know a little more about that. My review, of course, for the Dark Tower comics is 8.5 out of 10. They're awesome, well worth your time. If you really want to be super adventurous, I'd say get all the books and read them, because you will enjoy them as a good read. So there you go. We got through 5 comic books. So that concludes episode 7, part 10. Episode 7 of Comic Book Haul Review is complete. Next time out for next video, stay tuned for episode 8, part 1. Thank you very much, all my awesome subscribers. I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. I'm nobody special yet. You take the time. All I can say is a super positive thought your way, and thank you very much for doing that. I say thank you to the awesome comic book lovers who also make videos on YouTube and who happen to watch my video and want to see what I'm thinking. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to the people bored at work and willing to watch anything when all you have is the internet and nothing else to do to get you through the shift. You stumble across this video, hopefully it'll kill a little time for you. You learn about comic books and you get out there a little bit faster and not have to deal with work anymore. It sucks when it's boring. I like it when it's busy because then the time flies. And I just also wanted to say thank you to the lovers of random YouTube videos who just love YouTube videos, stumbled upon this one and decided to learn about comic books. Thank you so much to everyone who's viewed this. Stay tuned for more videos right here on the Reverie Soul YouTube channel. I'm your host, Daryl Christopher, or enjoy the videos already here. There's new content added all the time, and there's a lot of videos on this channel to enjoy of various types and genres. So check them out and enjoy. Thank you, everyone. Take care and goodbye.